Language and Linguistics, aka Liddy Language for Dummies, by me, Maddie, Keely, and Manpreet and Tori.
Our big idea is that all of the various linguistic approaches are forms of conveying and interpreting the meaning in literature and dialogue.
Structuralism is highly scientific and objective, in which elements are defined by only their placement in broader systems. An example of this would be defining an apple as crisp or sweet. Structuralists deny power to the text and encourage the audience to rethink literary text and equate them instead to cultural phenomena. The term dialogics, heavily defined by Bakhtin, overarchingly refers to all language that is addressed. Unlike the other linguistic approaches, dialogics departs from purely linguistic theories and adds a humanistic emphasis. The emphasis focuses on finding meaning of language through the relationship of the audience and speaker or writer. Bakhtin counterposes monologic and dialogic literature through the basic understanding that in monologic literature, characters exist solely to transmit the author's ideology, thus giving the hero of the story all the power. Whereas dialogical literature, in contrast, recognizes the multiplicity of perspectives and voices apparent in other characters as well. Furthermore, the polyphonic novel entails the author's voice as one among many, and all characters are given free speech to interact with one another's ideas. This creates a much more open system for the piece of literature. Another aspect of dialogics is heteroglossia, which emphasizes the combination of existing statements or speech genres to create a new text. And now, Tori.
In Russian formalism, factors such as politics, social climate, and cultural effects are ignored in the critical process to understanding the text. It looks at the text in a scientific way, not a social way. It is about how someone says something than rather what is being said. Form and structure are analyzed, not content, going back to the idea of the scientific outlook. Form and structure is how the text is written and what is instead of what is being said and what it means. Plot and story are identified as different in Russian formalism, as plot is how the story is being told, while story is what the story is saying. An example of Odin Den Ivana Deshnovich, or One Day in the Life of Ivan Deshnovich, the novel, many critics applaud the book for the harrowing portrayal of life in a gulag. However, Russian formalists applaud the book for different reasons, as a unique way that Alexander tells the story of being in a gulag through his novel. In the linguistic model, La Langue is the community language. It is the balm with the speakers, and it has its set of conventions and rules. It's the grammar and the syntax. In La Parole, it belongs to the individual. It is the language of somebody's mind, and it occurs in speech or writing. It has to do with the signifier and the signification. The signifier is the word, and the signification is the meaning. The linguistic model is the model for Russian formalism. Language equals signs, and there are two signs. Syntagmatic signs, which is a word by word, meaning that the sequence of signs that when combined create meaning, and the associative signs, meaning that beyond the literal definition of the word finds the meaning. Furthermore, we go to Keely.
French structuralists view literature as a means of expressing the author's thoughts through distinguishable aspects of literature. This can be done through histoire and discours. Histoire is a sequence of events, and it relates to how an author tells a story through the events and how the reader interprets those events. And then discours is the rearrangement of a story for the aesthetic and artistic effects, and that relates to how the author wants the readers to see the story in a more artistic way. Codes are internalized structure that explain the message of a story through characteristic features. Authors code the works with meaning, and then the readers then decode the meaning in the works to understand it. Some examples are Todorov's 5 Literary Codes of Fiction. American literary critic Jonathan Kohler claims that literature only consists of literary conventions that readers use to interpret the meaning of the text. The reader should contextualize the text to better understand it. He also believes that readers gain increased literary competence through experience, which allows them then to understand the text through a more broad lens when they've experienced different types of literary effects. And understanding more literary structures prompts readers to then search for underlying meaning within the text. Now on to Maddie.
All right, so deconstruction is essentially a theory within post-structuralism, which is the extension and critique of structuralism, and it is used in critical analysis where it rejects structuralist emphasis on objectivity and comprehension and instead focuses on the flexibility of meaning. Jacques Derrida emphasized exposing metaphysical assumptions and contradictions in philosophy and literature, and thus coined the deconstruction theory. And Michel Foucault claims that power resides. I'm sorry, guys. My dog just came in. Loki, you just fucked that whole thing up.